I just moved. I got a new apartment. I'm in the Hollywood Hills, but I'm not up in the hills. I'm on like a hill on the way to the hills. It is nice. It's fine. And the parking situation is very, very bad there. And they tow. I don't know if you guys have ever been in an area where they tow people all the time. They just tow. And the reason I think that they tow people all the time on this block is because this is a block of predominantly apartments, and people that live in apartments and specifically nice apartments like condos, or as they call them on my block, villas. They're certainly not villas, but they call them villas.
What a rebrand.
People that live in villas are rats. Like they'll pick up the phone and call the cop. People that live in big estates and mansions they're not paying attention. They're barely home. They're relying on their staff to really inform on the poor fuck who parked his car where he shouldn't have. But people in a pretend villa or a high-end apartment that they can't afford a house, and maybe they don't have it because they don't have any children, and they're just angry. They're angry because they're above the people that don't have the money to live in the villa, but they're far below the people who live in an actual home with an actual family and have so these people pick up the phone every chance they get to call the management company or the police. They are rats. They're just angry. They'll do it. And I could see them. They look through their little windows with their beady eyes. They're all little ne'er-do-wells. And they probably, they make a decent income compared to fucking Timonium. But compared to LA, they're constantly in the shadow of real wealth. And it makes them angry.
Literally in the shadow.
Literally in the shadow. There's houses on the hills that literally just look down on them. People in Maseratis cutting them off every day. 15-year-olds with YouTube channels grossing more money than they'll see in their life, Hot chicks just walking around taking selfies, selling their pussy on the street for millions of dollars. And these people in villas, these stupid little villas, just waiting to call the cops on somebody because it's 7:01 and it's time to tow this fucking car. And they I'm sure they look out their window and enjoy it. They enjoy it. They enjoy watching it get towed. They like it. They like rules.
Is that their only ownership? They're just like, that's my parking lot at the villa.
Yeah, I think they just are in love with rules because the middle, like people that get to the villa level in life are rule followers for the most part, unless they started at zero. And then, the apartment villa level's like, whoa, good for you. Like if you start in a closet getting burned by cigarettes by your foster mother.
You want to be in the villa.
And then you're passed around all the uncles. And but getting to the villa is a fucking good for you. But a lot of people that get to the villa level, and I don't mean real villa, we're talking about fake apartment villa, mustard yellow, stucco, whatever, those people are rule followers. They played by all the rules and they got nothing. And you can hear it. You'll hear it when you talk to them. There's an anger under their voice. There's a biting anger because they got the good grades and they got into the good school. And they maybe even went to grad school and they got the internship and they did the right thing. And they just forgot that they weren't particularly talented and they didn't particularly matter at all. They weren't unique and they didn't have any perspective or point of view that was interesting or important. And they couldn't think outside the box, or they didn't bring anything special to whatever institution they were working in. And they just basically died on the vine. They were a person. They were a paper pusher. They were just sitting there. Everything was about health insurance. I just need to get the right health insurance because they were always Googling diseases they didn't have, waiting to die.
Yeah, open season is in November.
This is a certain type of person that's just waiting to die. They're waiting to get a terminal illness their entire life, and they just Google, and every job they take is about what health plan will help when I finally get this thing I'm convinced I have because I have a headache sometimes Tuesday mornings. And I have aunts like this. I know people like this, and they're not bad people, but they're careful people. They've had rules beaten into their head since they were a little kid. And then you meet really successful people and they don't give a fuck about the rules. And you wonder, you're like, oh, there's maybe a correlation here. That really successful people, a lot of times, sometimes, yes, it's because they were born rich and they have a lot of money and it's easy to not care about the rules when your fucking dad owns fucking, Paramount. I get that. But then you meet a lot of people that were successful and got successful by not giving a fuck, that went on the outside, that didn't care, that weren't living every day like they were going to die tomorrow. Don't prepare for your own death. I know that many people out there fetishize that. They love it. They love it. They love telling you stories about people who are fucked. And they're like, car accident, lost everything, medical debt. My aunt will do that. She'll go,
never gonna walk again.
Medical debt, bankruptcy. And then invariably, sometimes I'll meet some of these people from my town that are being talked about and they're fine. They're like, oh, yeah, I declare bankruptcy. I'm fine. But it's just this horror story that keeps everyone in line, And my aunt would do that. She would be a collection of tales.
Depressing stories
that were supposed to teach you to follow the fucking rules. And if you didn't, somebody somewhere was going to kill you. You were going to die or you were going to live in agony and pain if you didn't follow the fucking rules. That car is supposed to be out of here at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's just these are the rule followers. And the rule followers they're shocked that they don't get further because they've done all the things that they should do. They've checked all the boxes. They've dotted the I's, they've crossed the T's, and in that process, they've forgotten to bring anything new or particularly valuable to the table. They just don't.
Just status quo through and through.
Status quo. They're doing the job that a lot of other people can do. They'll even tell you this sometimes. They'll pride themselves on it like it's a mark of achievement. That they're like, a lot of people can do this job and I'm doing it. It's like, well, no, that's not the move, is it? Right. But they love rules and that's why they love school. They love college and they love healthcare. They love having healthcare and they love it. And they're like, other people don't. They're just like, I'm just waiting to die. They're like, I'm just waiting to get in this car and have a semi wipe me off the fuck because meanwhile, healthcare doesn't even cover that. By the way, if you do get any of those things, they won't even cover it. So it's kind of, the healthcare industry is it's organized crime. No matter what kind of healthcare you have, you're probably fucked if something really horrendous happens. If you need, go get a potato and put a Marlboro Light in its mouth and watch that and then press play on your phone.